taking flight. Cobra. Cobra. Nowhere to run, nowhere to hide. Panic spreading far and wide. Who can turn the tide? G.I. Joe. American hero. Yo, G.I. Joe. There. G.I. Joe. American hero. G.I. Joe. There. Fighting for freedom wherever there's trouble over land and sea and air. G.I. Joe is there. Can the world oppose the deadliest of foes? Cobra. Joes will risk it all to end the evil call of Cobra. They never give up, they never say die. Walking tall with banners high, they sound the battle cry. G.I. Joe, G.I. Joe, there. G.I. Joe, American hero. G.I. Joe is there. Fighting for freedom wherever there's trouble over land and sea and air. G.I. Joe is there.
G.I. Joe is the code name for America's daring, highly trained Special Mission Force. Its purpose, to defend human freedom against COBRA, a ruthless terrorist organization determined to rule the world.
G.I. Joe, G.I. Joe, there. G.I. Joe, American hero. G.I. Joe, there. Fighting for freedom wherever there's trouble over land and sea and air. Retreat! Retreat! G.I. Joe, American hero. G.I. Joe is there. G.I. Joe.
G.I. Joe Operation Blackout is one of those kind of games. You know the type. It's got a couple of responses. You're either going to ignore it, you're going to love to hate it, or you're going to fall madly in love with it. Now, ideally this should be how most video games are, but we'll get to that in another video. G.I. Joe Operation Blackout is really one of those games that's made by fans and for fans. And if you love G.I. Joe, wow, you're in for a swell motherfucking time. Seriously, the kid in me was just squealing while playing this game. The visuals are really, really fantastic. The sound design is very reminiscent of the 80s show, and I was really impressed to see that they actually scored the game originally. I was expecting to see a lot of use of the 80s TV shows music, or possibly scores from the other G.I. Joe series. But I wasn't really expecting to see a really well-designed, well-thought-out score that truly remixed a lot of the familiar and traditional themes from the show into something new but familiar, which is a pretty big risk to take. It would be much easier to just use the old staples and to leave well enough alone. But I'm really glad that they took that extra mile, and it really shows just how much effort went into the overall game experience. Now, there is a ton of effort that went into this game, but it doesn't mean that the game isn't without its faults. The shooting's a little rough around the edges, aiming is one of the major complaints that you could probably find with the game's gunplay. However, I heard complaints that the game's weapons sounded weak or that they lacked impactful feedback. Now, I'm not sure if this was due to these reviews being prior to a patch or something, but I found the weapons to sound excellent. The only thing that might throw you off is if you're not a fan of the original 80s show, which had weapons sounding more reminiscent of like Star Wars blasters than like big bombastic guns, which you would see in like an Arnold Schwarzenegger movie or some shit at the time. And don't get me wrong, I love those Arnold Schwarzenegger big bombastic kind of machine gun sound effects. But it would be really out of place in a G.I. Joe game that's not exactly themed after the 80s show, but you can definitely tell that it takes all of its major cues from that classic 80s show. And even if you weren't a child of the 80s, if at any time you either saw like the G.I. Joe cartoon movie, or if you ever just saw the show, period, and if it meant anything to you, this is going to be a game that you're just going to look at and just, you're going to get a hard on. Admit it. You're getting hard thinking about it right now. I was hard while I was playing the game. It's okay. We're adults who like to have fun. Live a little, you know? The game isn't perfect, but it's also not $60, it's $40, and the campaign, you can blast through it in 4 or maybe even, 8 hours depending on the difficulty. But the thing that I'm looking at here is just how everybody that I see who's not a real true G.I. Joe fan, they're reacting to this game with such hate and avarice. Now, I get the Amazon reviews being that way. Believe me, it is your choice to be a fucking dick. You're free to be one. Go, be a hard, erect cock. It's okay. But for these critics, even independent critics, I hold you to the same standard as everybody else. I find it really fucking flabbergasting that this game was talked about like it was utter trash by quite a few critics I saw discussing the game. And I, think for myself and decided to get the game anyway because the one thing that I had kept hearing was that it was made by fans. And that definitely told me, well, then it has to be for fans too, and I'm definitely a fan, so let's give it a fucking whirl! And boy, am I glad that I did. And not only that, I'm really glad that I got the $50 digital deluxe edition, which comes with an art book, which actually is probably one of the first digital art books I've actually read and sat through. I was just doing it to capture footage for it, but then I ended up kind of reading through the entire thing and not realizing I had, and going, wow, I'd actually kind of read through that again. The art was excellent, and it just really showed that there was a lot of love that went into that art book. And that was the first thing that I did when I fired up the game, was I checked out the art book, or maybe I checked out the little stats and something. I don't know. We'll see it in the gameplay footage that you're seeing on the screen, probably right now. But in any case, once I read that art book, I was like, wow, the amount of effort that goes into this game. I can't see the rest of it being trash. Is it going to be Gears of War? Probably not. But it ended up being a real fun treat. I'm not sure what gaming critics are, even some gamers think when they play through these kind of games, and they're like, oh, it's too on rails, or it's too easy, or there's too many this brain dead AI to shoot. I would rather have smarter enemies and more challenge. And I'm just thinking, you guys must not be a fan of Dynasty Warriors. I fucking love Dynasty Warriors. I love playing Dynasty Warriors on the easiest setting, just so I can go around and whack a bunch of motherfuckers. I mean, slay a bunch of... Whew. My head's in a different place right now. I'm thinking about Tony. Sexy ass Tony. Anyway. Tony is the little boy who lives in my mouth. I probably should leave these thoughts to myself some more. In any case, where was I? Oh, right, talking about this most excellent game. If you're a fan of those kind of games where you just get to go around and waste a bunch of enemies, sounds kind of deplorable, but moving right along. If you like those kind of games, then boy, this actually could be a lot of fun for you too, even if you're not a die-hard G.I. Joe fan, just because there are so few of these kind of turn off your brain, march forward, shoot everything in fucking sight kind of games anymore. They used to be all over the place in the 360, so I guess, on the last generation, you could be a little more picky and be like, well, this one's not really that great. Well, there aren't that many of them. As a matter of fact, There aren't that many games in general this generation. Have you noticed that just the overall amount of games released for this console generation was like a lot less than the last one? So we've had a lot of similar style games. If you love open world games, go play any of the fantastic ones out there. There are so many choices, and that's the thing. It's like when you treat a game like this like trash, it's like you're saying, hey, fuck that choice. I don't want another choice. That choice is so horrible, I don't even want it to exist. This choice is not that horrible. As a matter of fact, it's a pretty fucking awesome choice. Like I said, it's going to appeal to two sets of gamers, G.I. Joe fans, and those who enjoy a Dynasty Warriors, just get high, waste some enemies, vanquish some dudes, have a little fun, turn off the old brain, and just relax. Because there's a lot of fucked shit in the world, and sometimes you just need something that takes your mind off of that fucked shit. Doesn't mean we're going to totally ignore the fucked shit, it just means if you don't take your mind off of it for at least a little bit, you're going to turn into one of those people who shoots up a public place, and that's no good. I mean, that's just, it's bad for you, it's bad for the public, it's bad for gun sales, potentially good for gun sales, and that's bad depending on which end of the aisle you end on, or lean on, or you're on. I don't know what I'm on right now. I think it's some really good shit. And to that note, which side of the aisle am I on? Nobody knows, because this man doesn't take sides. I like G.I. Joe and I like COBRA. And I'm glad that this game has a campaign where you get to play as all of the best G.I. Joe characters, or most of the best G.I. Joe characters. You're seeing them on screen now as I'm too lazy to fucking read off the names, because, you know, I don't get paid to do that shit. I just sit here and do this for fun, and if you like it, and you like what I do, cool. If you think you can do better, go right ahead and show me that shit. I want to see it. Because if you can do better than this, then you're fucking awesome, dude. Because I'm not even trying. And if you're trying to do better than this, then it shouldn't be even that hard for you then. Now should it? And I really don't think it was very hard for the people who made this game, because there was a lot of passion that went into this thing. And you can tell that they just had a ball making the fucking game. I did think from the advertising campaign that it was going to be a split campaign kind of game, but I was really happy to see that it's one of those, you know, switching back and forth between each faction type games, because it actually allowed the game to tell a really fantastic fucking story, and the dialogue is really, really well written. And not only is it well written, but it's funny, it's charming, it walked right out of the 80s show because it's got that kind of vibe to it. That kind of humor that's just a little silly and stupid, but if you're stoned, fucking perfection. I mean, this game is just if you're a stoner, you're gonna love this game too. Because it's just bright, it's cheerful, it's fun, and the story, like, it's got some interesting political theories, I must say. I love that COBRA takes over the White House at the beginning of the game, because I'm just like, you know, if you grew up watching G.I. Joe, you probably wanted to join the military and be a real-life G.I. Joe. And sadly, a lot of you people who joined the military were not the brightest bulbs in the bunch, and sadly, you didn't realize that our military is basically COBRA, but that's a point for another time. You know, not the people in our military, obviously, just the people. It's just more or less a fact that our president, no matter who it is sitting in office, tends to be COBRA commander. Whether it's George W. Bush, Bill Clinton, Obama, Trump, they all seem to be more like COBRA commander than John F. Kennedy, but I don't know, that might just be me. This thing just got really political, and a lot of people just got really pissed off. Maybe you guys should smoke some weed and check this game out, because it really centered me, and it just brought me to a great place. And that's why I got nothing but good things to say about it. Because when I saw the trailer for this game, all I could think was, oh fuck, it's just a mobile Fortnite ripoff. Great. They're taking something that I would love to see turn into, I don't know, like a third-person, campaign-driven, linear shooter, and to just a fucking cash grab. And then I watched the trailer more and I'm like, oh, it's a third-person, linear-based shooter. Awesome. hopefully it's gonna be cool. Maybe it's gonna be like Transformers Devastation, and then I'll finally like have a perfect Transformers Gen 1 game, and then a perfect like G.I. Joe animated series game. I was like, it could happen. I could manifest that shit through the powers of quantum physics. Take that quantum leap, use that quantum magic. Seriously, it's real science. You can manifest it. It's like quantum reality. I don't know the true terms for it. I don't even really think the people who came up with the term quantum knows what it means. They're just like, quantum means like there's a field and a force field around you, and like you can be guided and manifest shit with it, and like it loves you. And I'm like, that kind of sounds like the Force. But if you came up with a scientific term that scientists agree with and we can test this shit and prove that it's real, then I'm all for it. And evidently they did, because I did a little bit of research about it while I was really fucking high. And yeah, maybe when I was watching that trailer, that thought was like, oh, please don't be a fucking Fortnite game. Please be like, oh, you should be just a fucking linear third-person shooter. I was having that positive thought. It was a negative thought at first, but I canceled that first negative thought out with a positive one. Because I was like, nah, maybe it is a linear third-person shooter. That's what I really want. Come on, don't be a stupid mobile fucking Fortnite ripoff. Be the real deal. Because it's not just me wanting this fucking game. There's enough people writing positive things on the internet about it to see that a lot of people are really happy with this one and really enjoy it. So I think the main reason that I've done this really long-winded, just fucking flapping my jaws review of this sweet-ass game is mainly just to point out the real problem with gaming critics. I mean, I've loved talking about games, and I've made it like one of my fucking careers in life for a very long time. And it was because I loved watching G4 TV. I loved watching X-Play and Judgment Day, and they'd talk about games, and occasionally they would trash games they didn't like. But I liked they did it with a sense of humor. It never really seemed like it came from a totally serious place where they like saying, this game really is awful. It was just like you could tell, oh, they didn't really like the game. Okay, well, maybe I will. That's cool. I don't mind if they don't like the game. I might. And that was fine. It was always fine to have critical reviews done with a sense of humor. I didn't choose to do one today because I wanted to put out just some excellent positivity on this game because there's enough negativity being directed at it. But if you're being joking, like, I don't take zero punctuation seriously. I fucking love zero punctuation. If you're not familiar with it, check out Zero Punctuation on YouTube. They're fucking amazing, just hilarious, satirical reviews of games that just utterly shit on pretty much anything. But I love that you can tell that, like, he's not being serious, he's just voicing his opinion, and he's exaggerating things to be funny. That's great, because people pick up on that, and they're like, well, I can still check out the game for myself if I want to. The problem that I have with real critics is they, like, have this crusading mentality to think that they're saving that poor gamer who can only afford that one game, and if this is his one game or her one game, oh my goodness, I've got to steer them away from it. But I got another scenario for you. What if that gamer's like a massive G.I. Joe fan, they've been waiting for this, and they just wanted to know, okay, all I want to know is it a functional game? Does it have like plenty of levels? Does it last at least 4 hours? Is the online functional? I mean, I just want a G.I. Joe game that captures that spirit and essence of the cartoon. Like, I would pay $60 for it, but since it's only $40 for the normal edition and $50 for the digital edition, I mean, I got this. So I just need to know those things. And then all you hear is, oh, it's trash, it's trash, it's trash, the aiming's trash, the shooting's trash. It's like, none of those things are true. It's not the best stuff in the world, but it's good stuff. And when you treat the good stuff like it's utter shit, you kind of distort reality. And then you kind of fuck over the gamers you might be trying to help. And that's why I've taken this long-winded review of G.I. Joe Operation Blackout, because it needed to be done. This game needed some love. Thanks everybody for watching, and we'll catch you on whatever the fuck we're doing next on Mega Media Overload. Subscribe only if you like the video. Like the video only if you like the video. Think for yourself. But if you stayed through the entire 17-minute long video, you couldn't have hated it because you could have turned it off and watched anything else. If you're just letting it play right now, I mean, jeez. If you don't like it, turn it the fuck off. Go do something fun, you know? This is the problem with the world. You're like, I don't like the video. I'll just keep watching it anyway. I don't fucking care. I mean, I don't fucking care. I'll just sit here and I'll just keep talking to you. If you don't want to listen to me, why are you listening to me? And those who want to listen to me are just like, well, where the fuck is this going next? And I'm like, I don't even fucking know now, because this thing has just gone off the rails. But I love it. Sometimes when things go off the rails, it's totally fun. Like the game. Sometimes things glitched in the game and I ended up laughing. And I was like, oh, that was a funny little thing that happened, and it wouldn't happen if the game didn't glitch. And, you know, if I was taking this thing seriously and I was like, oh my god, I'm playing this because this game is my job, and every second that I play this game counts, and any second that, like, it doesn't go exactly as it should is a fucking waste of my life, and if I keep wasting, like, these seconds, then I should just kill myself. Like, whoa, dude, calm down! You need to take a chill pill. They actually make those. They're weed pills. I take them. They're called ProTab. Get the indica variation. Okay, they're really strong. If you're in California, they should be pretty easy to find. And take those. You might get knocked the fuck out, but when you wake up from your nappy poo, smoke a joint. I recommend something like Girl Scout cookies so it doesn't knock you the fuck out. And then play the game again. After you've watched the G.I. Joe cartoon. Maybe just pop in the G.I. Joe cartoon movie. G.I. Joe the movie is awesome. I fucking love that movie, dude. It has the best rendition of the G.I. Joe theme ever. I have that somewhere on my computer. I probably will play it sometime during the video because I don't care about copyright notifications. The people who made the song absolutely deserve to get paid for it. And if this is the way they can get paid for it, good on them. Glad to contribute and help them out. If by some means this video results in a bunch of people buying copies of the game and it goes to the developers who made this awesome thing, good on you. That's a good choice of your money. I don't get this thing where people act like we're all so fucking poor that if we spend $60 on a video game or $20 on a movie or, you know, something like that, that it's the end of the world. I get that it might be the only thing you can do that week or that month or maybe for even 2 months. Fuck, maybe even 3 months. There are some people who have that kind of shitty life. But, you know, you live and you learn. It's not a big deal. And if you're really one of those people who can only do something like every 3 months, then kind of shouldn't you just learn to appreciate what you have? I mean, it's a functional, playable game. If you're just sitting there going, I fucking hate this game, fucking hate this game. I think what you're really saying is, I fucking hate my life. It fucking sucks that I can only get one $60 game. I can only spend $60 on myself for fun once every 3 months. Fuck, my life sucks. Nobody should have to live like that. If you have to live like that, if you're one of those people, that fucking sucks. I'm sorry. But we shouldn't take that shitty life out on the game. You know, the game didn't create that shitty life for you. Game had nothing to do with that. Game's just sitting here going, hey, noticed you had kind of a shitty life. If you play me, if you maybe just use a little bit of money to get a little bit of weed, you know, you can get a joint for like $10. Just smoke a joint. Just play me. It'll be like fucking yourself, and that's a good thing. Anytime tells you, go fuck yourself, you should just look at him and go, you know what? I'm gonna do just that. Thanks for watching, and yo, Joe!
A little bit of action. This time I win, brother.
We are the music makers, and we are the dreamers of dreams.